Métropole, and the Parisian courtyard we built on the corner of the Bichat and Rue du Faubourg du Temple in Paris. I was inspired by this prospective and retrospective journey, completed in a series of episodes and stages during the months of July and August. Upon returning to Gentilly, I recall the poem by Laurence Ferlinghetti, who is an American poet, Italian. Perhaps it was my visit to the Beat Generation exhibition at the Centre Pompidou that awakened this memory within me. I felt that the title of the poem, "The World is a Beautiful Place," shown is a way to look at the project we're doing with the Bureau des Paysages. And that's what I try to explain. We devote ourselves in the design and creation of places in which each and every one of us can project ourselves and feel at change. And during this, we are trying to define an aesthetic which is a type of radical simplicity. And we want to offer an alternative to the widespread homogenization of architectural projects, including in the manner which they attempt to set themselves apart, and to the standardization of cities and territory. Because everywhere you go and you have the feeling to visit almost the same project sometimes. So we put forward project to be as constructed situation, inseparably connected to a given environment. And we push this contextual research until it's offer up an essential, something universal, a language. This reflection, and I will now present some of these things and projects we're doing. And I want to say that the way I'm practicing landscape architecture, which is not a proper translation for paysage, but I don't know how to translate exactly and precisely this term. So it's a way of dealing not only with landscape as a specialty, but with a way of doing projects, all kinds of projects, and as well as building a house or transforming a site. We went with the idea of plan guide, and I must say that a plan guide is more or less a plan guiding our actions. It's not a master plan. It's a way of thinking. It's an immaterial plan beyond the paper plan guide, a reflection and an aesthetic of transformation. So I want to present this approach in 5 chapters in the following order. First is the invention of the program. The second is the construction of changes. The third is the exercise of memory. The fourth, the feeling of nature. And the fifth, Napoleon, And you also see those animals in the pounds, which refer to the journey of the intellectual in Egypt. And those animals host visitors in the restaurant, and the program is much a part of the project as the implementation of each constituent part and the relationship established between them. So the program is a way to design the project and to invent a way to transform the place, building the restaurant and transforming the public space. Inventing of the program is also the construction of a narrative. That's what in the COP in Strasbourg, we were interested in the history of the site from 1902 to 1911, starting with the Konsumverein für Strasbourg und Umgegend cooperative, followed by the COPE, and finally COP Alsace Cooperative. So what we imagine is that the COP was at the intersection of two axes, the one of the Neustadt and the other one, which was the harbor. And this is the incredible vine cubes that we found on the site. And we imagined to transform them. And this first drawing, starting from the building, and imagine a kind of narrative before designing the project, is a way to invent a program and to represent the invention of the program as a process of transformation of the site. For example, this garage is going to be transformed into artist workshop, exhibition gallery, and we don't know yet how we're going to do those transformations, but we imagine as a beginning, how was it possible to transform those places in order to start as a beginning of a future project. The invention of the program is also in relationship with economy, what we call in Saint-Étienne the inventive economy. That means how can we use less money in order to reuse everything which is already existing. Saint-Étienne is a city with great difficulty, with the industrial crisis and the disappearance of activity. And so the French government created a public establishment to enable the town to transform itself using its own engineering resource. And this is in this context that we imagine the transformation of the former manufacture d'arms factory into a crèche, a school, offices, workshop, and all that we've been doing is always in relation with the initial assessment and also with the idea of inventive economy. So this is the site, and these are the offices we transform from the former building, And this is the street and two buildings that we transform. The one is a school, the other is a crèche and offices. And we did all that with, and everything changed at the same time. The invention of the program is also a way of building with time, layer by layer. That's what we've been doing in Place Carnot in Saint-Étienne. And the idea is that a project does not have to be completed at the very beginning. You can let the way people use it, the way they judge it, the way they experience it and use it in order to make a project layer by layer, starting from this point, going to this one, which is more or less a way to erase almost everything, and then some years after to complete, so you don't spend money the first year, neither the second year, but maybe the third year and the fourth or fifth year, and you may transform the project, and as time is passing by, and so the project is more a dialogue with the existing site than a design that is going to be built very precisely from the beginning to the end. So it's more or less you following, and what is important is the budget is unchanged. The budget is the expenses, but the expenses are introduced through the development we need. So if you need a footpath to go to take the tramway line, you just precisely design it according to the way the pedestrian. Very important thing. The second theme is construction of changes. The construction of changes or experiences. So really to formulate an idea, and every circumstance serve for the defining a project, but we were building in a neighborhood. That's mean we transform during 25 years, we have designed the condition for each building and guide their construction alongside committed contracting authority with 70 teams of architects and property developer, and 3,500 housing units were built, but you don't have the feeling that it's a huge project, but a series of small projects, and each one that we build and that we, because we were working on at the same time on the same project is a project as a whole, but you never design it as a whole. You design it piece by piece, and a project that you design in the early 90s is different than a project you design in at the beginning of the 21st century, in 2013, for example. So each project is a contemporary project, even if the project go through 25 years. It's not the implementation of an old project during 25 years. It's the reinvention of a project through 25 years passing by. And each project, each step of the project is contemporary with the time you're just designing and building it. So, for example, those different interventions through the time, even this one, which is quite recent, and you can see it from the size of the tree. I mean, each of these projects completes a large project, which is at the scale of the city. But each of these projects is a small project among a larger project, which is not defined from the beginning, but that you build with the time. The construction of changes is also a taste for how things are made. We may say what the ants knows. That's what we've been doing at the Parisian Cour. No barrier between landscape architecture, and whatever. The problem is that landscape, le paysage, is an idea, is a philosophy of transforming things that change even the way you may conceive a building as an architect. So, for example, this facade expresses the structure of its construction, but it's meant to be transformed by time. Every detail of that building will be different within 2 or 3 or 10 years. So this building is like a living, it's not something that will be, that will go through the time with no transformation. There will be slight transformation. And this, the way the wood burnish, for example, it will turn gray, and the appearance of the building will change. The way also people are going to live, use, plan the balcony, etc., will change the appearance of this building. And you see that the way to integrate architecture and to create a dialogue between an existing building of a Parisian faubourg with a new construction is a matter of landscape and the creation or recreation of a dialogue within the city. The construction of change is also a search for an aesthetic, and also the extolment of simplicity. That is something quite important. And in my opinion, I will show the Bravais workshop in Nancy, which is a building that we transform using very little money. It's €1,000 by square meter, including the furniture. So we reuse the existing building and we transform the place very simply in order to host the city planning agency. So the idea to use little money was also a way to take a position toward the way of transforming the city itself, and the relationship with the existing building and the way you're transforming and the aesthetic of the transformation of each detail. So you may create something that will surprise yourself. It's not a creation. It's here again a dialogue with an existing structure and whatever you build inside. So you're not inventing that place. You are reinventing that place. So you show the place a different way as it was before. And every detail is a dialogue with the existing and whatever you imagine to transform the place. So the construction of this aesthetic is a way to establish connection between the new and the existing, and to create what we may call a welcoming environment. Thanks to this. The construction of change is also what the end does, and what the end knows, which is almost the same thing, because your end knows a lot of things, and with the time, we are losing the use of the end. But at the end of on the site, you use your own end. And to explain, for example, the details, the way to build this wall, we have to be on the site and to start a dialogue which was not a theoretical dialogue, but which was a dialogue to show how do you want this wall to be built. So I show you how I can do this wall. And then you build it your own way. And this, with this every detail, is also the invention of a design, of an aesthetic, and an exchange, a transmission from one hand to another. The construction is, in this meaning, an interpretation in the sense in order to produce that kind of effect, which is at the same time handmade and also at large scale, which is a way to do things. You have to have this mano a mano experience. And this is the Champ de Mars in Angoulême, where those walls take place, and all the construction of the site, the building and the plaza, were also a way to experiment every detail, the greenhouses, the wall, the everything, the railing, the wooden facade, the tiles, the trees, going to nursery, on the site, in the workshop, and precisely designing details, not only on the table, but on the site. It's also, the project is also an exercise of memory. An exercise of memory